So, if I could have your attention just for a second. Well, I'll grab your attention for a second and then I'll hand the attention over. Good afternoon and welcome to the 7A11D International Festival of Performance Art. My name is Francisco Fernando Granados and I am a member of the 7A11D Collective. Today we are having part 2 of a performance art daily talk on international performance art festivals. And our speakers today are Joseph Ravens from Chicago and Silvia de Gracia from Junín, Argentina. I will just start by doing the introductions, hand it over to them. Each of them will speak for about 20 minutes. Then I'll probably just ask 1 or 2 questions to get the conversation going. And then we're really hoping we can hand over the questions and the comments to you and that you can engage. I will be translating for Silvio. So that's just so that you know. But before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that this land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississaugas of the New Credit. The territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work in this space. So we'd like to acknowledge the territory. Our speakers. Silvio de Gracia is an interdisciplinary artist and independent curator. He lives and works in Junín, Buenos Aires, Argentina. De Gracia has presented his performances, conferences, and public art projects in Canada, Italy, Serbia, the United Kingdom, Greece, Portugal, and Latin America. He is an organizer, theorist, and researcher of performance art. In 2015, he organized Participación, Encuentro Latinoamericano de Performance in Argentina. He directs Video Play Project, an international platform devoted to the diffusion of video performance. And Joseph Ravens is the director of the Fibrillator Gallery and Rapid Pulse International Art Festival. He studied at the Gerrit Rietveld Academy in Amsterdam and at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Ravens was included in the Live Biennale in Vancouver, the 20th Bienal Internacional de Curitiba, gracias, thank you, Curitiba in Brazil, Venice International Performance Art Week, and Interlude Art and Life 366 at Zendai, MoMA in Shanghai. So please help me in welcoming Silvio and Joseph.
Bueno, ante todo agradecer a los organizadores esta oportunidad de estar aquí. Estoy muy contento por estar participando de este festival.
Before everything, I would like to thank the organizers. I am very happy to be a part of this festival.
Voy a tratar de dar alguna información sobre cómo comenzaron a gestarse los festivales de performance en Argentina y también en lo que sería el Cono Sur, es decir, en Chile y Uruguay.
I'm going to give some context as to how performance art festivals emerged, particularly in Argentina and the Cono Sur region, meaning Argentina, Chile y
Uruguay.
And Uruguay.
Claro, hay una primera fecha a tomar en cuenta que es el año 2002, cuando en Chile se organiza un festival llamado Perfopuerto.
The first date to take into account is 2002, when there was a performance festival organized in Chile called Perfopuerto. Perfopuerto. I shall gladly stand corrected as we go along.
Este festival fue organizado por un artista llamado Alexander del Rey y es un primer momento donde se produce un intercambio con artistas procedentes de Europa. Entre los artistas participantes se encontró Bartolomé Ferrando, por ejemplo, que está aquí mismo.
This festival was organized by Alexander del Rey, and it marked an occasion where South American artists were able to share and perform alongside European artists. Bartolomé Ferrando, who is also a part of this festival, was one of the artists included.
Luego, otra fecha importante sería el año 2004, cuando en Uruguay se realiza un evento llamado Excentra.
In 2004, there was a festival called Excentra in Uruguay,
Laboratorio Internacional de Arte de Acción.
an international laboratory of action art.
Este festival también permitió el contacto entre los artistas latinoamericanos de Chile, Uruguay, Argentina, con artistas de todo el mundo.
This was also a platform where artists from Chile, Uruguay, and Argentina could have contact with artists from around the world.
Y algunos de los que participamos en esos festivales fuimos aprendiendo para poder generar nuestros propios festivales.
And that's where some of the organizers from these countries began to learn how to put together performance art festivals.
Entonces, esos serían los momentos importantes que yo considero, año 2002, 2004, con festivales en Chile, en Uruguay, y luego en el 2005 van a empezar a organizarse festivales en mi país, en Argentina.
So those are some pivotal moments around the sort of regional context, and then in 2005 is when performance art festivals begin to be organized in Argentina.
Digamos que hasta el año 2005 podría haber performance en forma aislada, pero no había el formato de festival en Argentina.
Up until 2005, there was, individual and in a way kind of isolated instances of performance, but the performance art festival as a form really comes together in 2005.
Entonces, en el año 2005 yo organizo mi primer festival que se titula Interferencias, Encuentro Internacional de Arte de Acción.
In 2005, I organized my first performance festival, which was called Interferencias, International Encounter of Action Art.
Ese mismo año, luego de este festival, en Buenos Aires, se organizan otros dos festivales que son uno, Sos Tierra, que es un festival enfocado en arte y ecología, que dirige un artista llamado Daniel Acosta.
So that same year, there were two other performance festivals that were organized in Buenos Aires. One called Sos Tierra, which focused on the relationship between performance and the environment, organized by, el nombre del artista?
Daniel Acosta.
By Daniel Acosta.
Y también en el año 2005 se organiza otro festival llamado Zona de Arte en Acción, que a partir de entonces va a tener un carácter casi bianual.
And the second festival, which was called Zone of Art in Action, which ended up becoming a biennial.
Es muy interesante considerar que tanto mi festival como estos otros dos festivales marcan un desplazamiento de lo que sería Buenos Aires capital.
It's interesting to consider that both my festival and these festivals mark a displacement from the cultural center of Buenos Aires into different cities in Argentina.
En mi caso particular, cuando comienzo a organizar festivales, tengo muy presente esta idea de salir del centro. Buenos Aires es como la periferia del mundo, pero a su vez yo, trabajando en una ciudad del interior, estaba en la periferia de la periferia.
One of my ideas when I began organizing performance art festivals is in really de-emphasizing the center. Even though Buenos Aires is in some ways in the periphery of the art world, living in a place that is outside of the capital, I was in the periphery of the periphery.
Yo vivo en una ciudad llamada Junín, que está a 260 kilómetros de Buenos Aires.
I live in a city called Junín, which is 260 kilometers away from Buenos Aires.
Cuando yo comencé a generar eventos de videoarte y de performance en esa ciudad, fue como empezar desde cero.
When I began curating video performance events in the city, it was like starting from zero, starting from the ground.
Y en realidad lo que yo empecé a manejar fueron dos proyectos. Por un lado, un festival de videoarte, y por el otro lado, los encuentros o festivales de performance y arte acción.
I began to organize two kinds of festivals: video art festivals and live action festivals.
Entonces, 2004 festival de video, 2005 festival de performance, y así se fueron alternando.
2004 video festival, 2005 live festival, and they began alternating.
Bueno, ahí hay un largo texto que explica lo que es el concepto de interferencia, porque esos festivales, el concepto de interferencia yo lo desarrollé en un libro.
And so there's a sort of longer theoretical text that lays out the groundwork for the frame of the festival, which was a part of a book that Sylvia was a part of.
Bueno, hubo alrededor de 40 participantes en el primer festival del año 2005. Casi todos los artistas argentinos que estaban haciendo performance estuvieron incluidos ahí.
There was around 40 artists who were included in the first edition of the festival. Basically, like, you know, a real sort of sampling of who was making performance in Argentina at the time.
Más invitados de Alemania, Brasil, Uruguay.
Plus invited artists from Germany, Brazil, Uruguay.
Ahí está, por ejemplo, este artista que decía antes, Daniela Costa.
So this is one of the artists who was mentioned before as an organizer of the Eco Performance Festival, Daniela Costa.
En 2007 organiza el Festival de la Interferencia in memoria en Edgardo Antonio Vigo, que Edgardo Antonio Vigo es un artista conceptual argentino muy importante.
In 2007, I organized the Interferencia Festival in the memory of Eduardo Antonio Vigo, who is a very important conceptual Argentinian artist.
Y uno de los primeros que planteó la necesidad de llevar el arte a la calle.
And one of the first artists in Argentina to propose the notion of taking art to the streets.
En mis festivales siempre me interesó esta posibilidad de llevar la performance o el arte de acción a la calle, al espacio público.
One of the things that I've always been interested in is the possibility of taking performance art to the street, into the public realm.
Y con eso se relaciona el concepto de interferencia, precisamente.
Hence the concept of interference.
En este segundo festival, lo importante fue que tuvimos la participación de artistas quebecois, un grupo de artistas encabezados por Richard Martel.
In this festival, one of the things that was relevant was that there was a chance to invite Quebecois artists, including Richard Martel. And so some of the other artists included, so Richard Martel, Francis Arguin, Julien Dreté, Christian Messier, Francis O'Shaughnessy, Marie-Ève Petitgout, and Sonia Pelletier.
También invitados de Cuba, Francia, Irlanda del Norte.
People invited from Cuba, France, Northern Ireland, Uruguay.
Ahí está Sinead.
And that's Sinead. And that's Sinead O'Donnell, who has been a part of this festival, I believe. No? But she's come to Toronto. And these are some of the artists from that festival.
Esta es la intervención de Richard Martel.
And this is the intervention by Richard Martel.
Muchas de las acciones que se presentaban en ese festival realmente se hacían en la calle y era la idea de interferir, de fastidiar.
Many of the actions were presented on the streets, and one of the main ideas was to really create an intervention, to really almost create a disruption in public space.
En 2008 se hizo un festival que fue una fusión, fue festival de video y performance.
In 2008, the festivals fused their video and live performance components.
En esta oportunidad fue muy importante el intercambio que se hizo con un grupo de artistas coreanos.
In this occasion, the exchange focused on Korean artists.
Que hicieron una gira por Chile, Argentina y Uruguay, donde yo también gestioné la presentación de ellos en Uruguay.
And so they toured the Connoisseur. They went to Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay, and that was a tour that was organized by me, basically.
Porque la idea siempre era que los artistas internacionales que llegaran pudieran realizar un circuito, un recorrido en esa zona.
And the idea was that if artists were being brought from far away, that they could be, in a way, plugged into a circuit and that they could tour the region.
El grupo de artistas coreanos era llamado Squartis, una mezcla de squat y artis.
So the name of the collective was Squartist, a mixture of squat, of squatting, like occupying, and artists. So they were squat artists. As it was.
Los 11 estuvieron hospedados en mi casa.
And the 11 of them were staying at my place.
Terrible.
There's no translation for that.
Bueno, y en ese mismo festival tuvimos también gente de España, Polonia, Brasil, Suecia.
In that festival, there were artists from Spain, Poland, Sweden.
Bien.
More
Ahí
work.
están los artistas coreanos.
These are the artists from Korea.
Estas son las ciudades. Este festival lo hicimos en Junín y Pergamino, que es una ciudad cercana.
And so this iteration of the festival happened in Junín, but it also extended to a nearby city called Pergamino.
Ok. Bien. En 2010 fue un festival únicamente de video. Se llamó Trans Video Play porque fue un festival en tránsito. Estuvo girando por varios países.
In 2010, the festival shifted to exclusively video format, and it was called Trans Video Play because the festival actually toured and went to different sites.
Incluyó una curaduría de Canadá, de Guillermina Bush.
And it included a curatorship from Canada by Guillermina Bucio, who's a local artist.
Y también incluimos artistas de performance. No había presupuesto, pero invitamos a tres, que eran Verena Stenke y Andrea Panes, de Italia.
And so, even though there was no real budget, there were Uruguayan, there were Italian and German artists. Verena Stenke and Andrea Packens they managed to be
Estos
invited.
dos artistas son los organizadores del Performance Art Week en Venecia.
Then these are the artists who organized Performance Art Week in Venice.
Bueno, hay un poco de cómo circuló el Trans Video Play en Suecia, en Corea.
So this is some of the documentation of the publications around Trans Video Play Festival in Sweden, in Korea, Spain.
Bien, luego tomé una pausa porque estaba cansado.
Then I took a break because I was tired.
Y en 2015, sí, con nuevas energías, organicé el Encuentro Latinoamericano de Performance Participación, que le quise dar ese carácter latinoamericano para
And in,
marcar una presencia especial, tú sabes.
and in 2015, after I gathered my strength back, I came back with the Latin American Encounter of Performance Participación, or participation, and it was really important for me to give it a specifically Latin American character.
Y fue en homenaje a Clemente Padín, que es un artista uruguayo, un pionero de muchos lenguajes, entre ellos también el arte en ciudad.
And it was in memory of Clemente Padín, who is an Uruguayan artist with a great trajectory, who has a great legacy in terms of action in the region.
Y esta vez lo organicé en dos campos, por un lado las performances y por otro lado el evento teórico.
And so in this case, there were performances, but there was also a theoretical encounter or a symposium.
Entonces, entre los artistas invitados estuvieron Regina José Galindo, Carlos Martiel, Rosenberg Sandoval, artistas muy importantes de la escena latinoamericana.
And so, it really shifted to broadening the scope to very important Latin American artists like Regina José Galindo from Guatemala, Carlos Martiel from Cuba, Rosenberg Sandoval from Colombia, so on and so forth.
Olvidaba también mencionar, Gonzalo Rabanal, este artista, en el año 2006 empezó a organizar la Bienal Deformes en Chile.
The artist that you see here, Gonzalo Rabanal, began to organize the Deformes Festival in Chile in 2006.
Y esa Bienal continúa hasta el día de hoy. Ahora en noviembre se hace una nueva edición, la sexta.
And that biennial continues until today, and there is the 6th edition of the festival is coming up.
Donde está, yo he invitado a Joseph.
Where Sylvia is curating Joseph. Coincidentally.
Bueno, la acción de Carlos Martiel, por ejemplo, no pudo ser porque él no obtuvo la visa y la tuvieron que hacer los artistas. Algo parecido a la Selma.
So, not unlike what happened in this festival with Selma Salman, Carlos Martiel's action, the artist from Cuba, had to be executed by artists and members of the public because he did not receive his visa to travel.
Calixto Saucedo es una artista argentina que interpreta muy bien mi concepto de interferencia, siempre realmente irrumpe en la calle.
Calixto Saucedo is an Argentinian artist who really embodies my concept of interference. He really always breaks through in the street and sort of goes out in public.
Very interesting.
Very, yeah, important.
Bien, una cosa más. Lo de... Bueno, hay una página del Encuentro Latinoamericano de Participación que pueden ver en su momento.
There's a web page for the Participación festival that you can Google and check out on your own.
Ese es el sitio.
And that's it.
Y les quiero mostrar también algo del otro proyecto que es el proyecto Videoplay. La primera muestra de videoarte que yo realicé en mi ciudad, Junín, fue en el año 2002. Después, en el 2004, se convirtió en un festival.
And so, this is from a different project, which is the Video Play Festival, which is specifically video art. The first video event that I curated was in 2002, but then in 2015 it really became a festival.
También es el formato de festival, luego lo abandoné y me concentré en la posibilidad de gestionar curadurías e intercambios continuamente.
The festival format was eventually abandoned and it became focused more on as a curatorial project.
Enfocadas esas curadurías fundamentalmente en video performance.
Focusing mainly on performance for the camera.
Porque evidentemente es una posibilidad de llegar a todas partes.
Because performance for the camera, it gives you the ability to reach all sorts of places, different places.
En 2014 entonces el proyecto Videoplay como curadurías en su instancia curatorial cumplió 10 años y ahí entonces lancé una curaduría especial que se tituló Celebration.
After 10 years of Video Play, I launched a special curatorial project called Celebration.
Donde la idea era presentar a 10 artistas, uno por cada año, y hacer que esa muestra girara por 10 ciudades alrededor del mundo.
And the concept for that was taking 10 artists, one for each year, and touring the festival in 10 cities, 10 different cities.
Esto comenzó a fines de 2014 y todavía no termina.
This started at the end of 2014 and it's an ongoing project.
En este momento está itinerando por México, en 4 ciudades de México.
At the moment, it is traveling through 4 cities in Mexico.
Y próximamente estará en Acción Map en Madrid.
And it will be in Madrid, in Acción Map.
También en Serbia.
And in Serbia.
Ha estado en la Bienal de Tesalónica, ha estado en San Pablo.
It has been in Sao Paulo, it has been in the Thessalonic Biennial.
Bueno, creo que ya está bien.
I think this is good.
Ya tienen una idea.
You have an idea.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is Joseph will do his presentation now, and then we can open it up for questions right away, for sure. If people have questions. We like questions. And Sylvia would like all of you to take some of this material from the festivals. Please take it with you.
So I just put together a slideshow that I'm just gonna let play while I talk to you. Thank you, by the way. I really like what you're doing. So there are images up here from Rapid Pulse and also from Defibrillator Gallery, and I guess I wanted to talk a little bit about both. And I thought I'd start with Defibrillator Gallery because it came first. They're separate entities more or less, but they both kind of have a similar mission. When I was a young artist in the 90s, 1990 specifically, and sort of identified as a performance artist, it was in the height of the culture wars, and throughout the 90s, things changed dramatically in the United States regarding especially experimental spaces. But from the early 90s, I always looked to Chicago as this sort of mecca of performance art because the School of the Art Institute of Chicago has still a very vibrant master's program in performance. Which I ended up attending. But also in the 90s, there was a very important space there called Randolph Street Gallery, and it was on an international sort of tour circuit, and anyone who is anyone really performed at Randolph Street Gallery. And Randolph Street published a magazine called P-Form. And before the internet, of course, magazines were the only way that we were finding out about what everyone was doing. So I always had Chicago as sort of a destination in mind, and I did end up there in '96 going to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. I actually got to perform at Randolph Street Gallery before it closed, but it did close. And when I graduated from SAIC, I was very fortunate. I got a grant. I got funding from the state of Illinois, and it opened up a whole series of funding structures specifically to represent Chicago and Illinois on an international level, like touring. And so I was in a very unique position because this does not exist in the States very much. So I was really fortunate. And knowing this, I was seeking out opportunities to visit festivals and out of the way places. Like I had a particular interest in finding out where performance art was happening around the world, especially in places you wouldn't necessarily think that it was. And I was lucky enough to have the funding to do this. So fast forward, it was 2010, and I had an exhibition in downtown Chicago, one of the first times that I'd been performed in the city because I was sort of working internationally, and a controversy ensued regarding some photographs in an exhibition that were removed during the art opening. And it became a sort of tabloid scandal. This man's penis is a work of art, was like the cover of this magazine in Chicago, and I started hating Chicago, and I got an apartment in New York, and I was about to move when I decided instead, like it all just kind of became clear to me that because all these spaces in Chicago, all these alternative spaces had faded away due to the restructuring of our funding in the United States, that there wasn't a place where things could happen like what I did, like the performance that I made. So in a sort of life-changing moment, I decided to stay in Chicago and try to make a difference. And the reason Defibrillator is called Defibrillator is because it definitely is a gesture, I guess still was maybe more so, but still is, a gesture to reinvigorate the city and to try to give it back its performance art legacy because it had one. And I think in the United States, there's Chicago, Boston, and New York. New York by default due to probably venues and other things. But Boston also has like a strong performance art community because of the pedagogy that happens in that city. And Chicago does as well. So these are sort of capitals in the US. Not capitals, you know where I'm going though. There's a community around performance art within those contexts. But so when I decided to stay, it just dawned on me like that the decade I'd spent touring around the world put me in contact with some of the most amazing practitioners of the form from all over the fucking place. And I was like, well shit, Chicago just needs a jolt, you know? And I know the people to do it really. So I took it upon myself really to sort of, my interest was both local and global, to reinvigorate Chicago by bringing in artists from around the world. This was also important to me because, as you probably all see in your communities, a sort of, like at SAIC, there were the sort of art star performance artists, and then there was a lot of derivative work in the city. Just as a result, you work with someone, you sort of acquire a little bit of their aesthetic, and that was frustrating me in Chicago as well. I didn't feel like there was enough influx of like styles and forms. So So it was also a little bit about, so it was about the local in terms of invigorating and making a more dynamic space within Chicago performance art scene, but also being global. That wasn't bad. That was my designated time period for defibrillating. But also global to provide a place for touring artists to go, you know, so contributing to a global conversation, right? So that's how Defibrillator started. And then, you know, there aren't so many places around the world that are dedicated to performance art. It was important to me and still is important to me to use visual art vernacular within the space. So it is called a gallery. We have exhibitions, we install, we deinstall. That is actually a twofold sort of concept. One is to, you know, sort of prepare our, you know, our visitors to really try to look at the work more through a visual art lens than a theatrical or a dance one. Even if what we're doing it may border onto theater or dance, we still sort of urge the visitors to take that visual art lens. But also in terms of like, in the city of Chicago, the restrictions on are so strict and unique. Like if we were a performing arts venue or anything related to that, the like structural things would be catastrophically expensive and the licensing and all that. But to be a gallery, it's like having a shop. You just have to have insurance and electricity or whatever. So that's kind of how it started. And then I gave a talk at SAIC, and I said, one day I want to have a performance art festival. And a young student came up to me, well, she wasn't that young, but a grad student came up to me and said, hey, let's make that festival happen. And I'm like, cool, I have all the drafts, because I sit and plot and play on a lot, you know? And so she met with me and she's like, let's just do it. We'll do it really like easy and we won't make a big deal out of it. But our first one was 10 days long. It was like a marathon and it was a big deal. And it just kind of took off from there. That was Gianna Gambino. She's assistant festival director. And from the beginning, we took on two other curators, Julie Lafine, who's based in Chicago, and Stephen Bridges, who at the time was working with the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago. They were with us for the first 4 years, but last year, just because like Stephen took a new post and new jobs and stuff, Gianna and I basically put it together this past year. And there was some great things about boiling it down to two curators. Getting together was easier, our meetings were shorter, things like that. But having the influx, it was important initially to have about 4 people or more. And at one year we had curatorial fellows, so we took on 2 other people, and we're interested in changing up how, you know, our curatorial team, but in general just trying to get different voices in so that nothing ever seems too like static or uniform. Luckily, both Defibrillator and Rapid Pulse have an objective to really kind of survey, like show as many types and forms of time-based practice and from as many regions as possible. And so we don't usually have thematic work or anything like that, but that overlay is enough to kind of give you a starting point. And generally for Rapid Pulse, we begin by the curators, everyone sort of putting into a big list some of the artists that we're interested in right now. And then it's very democratic. We actually go through and we use a numbering system 1 to 5, and we add them up, and then we know which ones, you know, we're looking at. And then we dive a little deeper. And then we might look at like representation of different voices. Definitely we look at regionalism. Just as an international festival, one of our objectives, of course, is to show as diverse regions around the world as possible. And that sometimes is a disadvantage because, for instance, we get a lot of applications from Canada, or we'll get a lot of applications from the UK, you know, those are kind of given, but we don't want like a ton of UK artists or whatever. So some are more competitive, depending on where you're from, it's more competitive. And then after we select though our invited artists, we put out a call for proposals, and then our visiting artists kind of give us a little bit of a shape of like where we're at, and then we sort of supplement with supplement sounds diminutive, and I don't mean it to be, with people who apply. It's pretty competitive. I think we've received like in general around 300 applications a year, so sometimes a little less or sometimes a little bit more, and I think we take in about 20 artists from the call. Money.
Always a question.
No, I was trying to think of things to talk about. Like I was thinking, what would I be interested if I was sitting there? And one is always interested about like how the money works. Well, you know, the U.S. is a giant like contradiction in being a rich country that doesn't fund their arts. And I was a bit naive when I opened Defibrillator. I didn't have a next timing like goal, so I just did that to keep me on track, I guess. I was a bit naive when I opened the gallery because I thought that I would just start getting funding right away. But you know, of course, foundations, you know, institutions want to see that you are both like that your finances and your programming are exceptional for a number of years. They want to see longevity. So I thought, you know, in a few years I'll get it all rolling. Well, we're beginning year 6 and we haven't had any substantial funding from any large organizations or anything like that. But we wheel and deal quite a bit with consulates and a lot of to try to get at least funding for specific artists and things like that. But otherwise, I work a day job and pay for the gallery and Rapid Pulse largely from my pocket. Our budget for Rapid Pulse is about $15,000 a year. And we usually make about 3,000 of that, 3 to 4,000 in outside sources. The rest I squirrel away throughout the year to pay for the festival. But that's always tricky because I know I still owe exactly $1,900 to people that I've borrowed money from the last Rapid Pulse. So I need to like sort that before I can begin saving. Yeah, you know, we do a rummage sale. That's both a cleansing for the gallery, but it does bring in some money and actually gets us to know our neighborhood quite a bit. We do the lip sync show where we invite administrators especially, but also artists from the community to lip sync, and that's a benefit, and a lot of people come out to that. We have a thing we do called a $100 request. Someone suggested it, but the entire team puts down on a list people they think could afford $100 if they were really into what you were doing. And we collect that list and we send them each an email asking them if they can please give us $100. And we usually make a couple $1,000s from that one email request. It's a hard list to put together. It's a hard thing to do. Asking for money is not my forte, but it's where I'm at all the time. But we know that we don't have a lot of money. We can provide artist fees. Sometimes it happens, like the British Council funded one year 3 artists to come, and they paid those artists artist fees. But for us, like in terms of like the organization, if we can't pay every artist, we won't pay any until we can pay all, at least a minor amount. So if it works out that some other group or organization pays them, that's fine, but it can't come through our coffers, so to speak. Hopefully that will come in time. We offer housing. For the invited artists, there is a little bit of a tier, but not really, because everyone's kind of the same once they get there. But we do offer airfare to our invited artists. And then the call for proposals, artists do have to find their own way to get there. Once they're there, we provide, this past year was the best in terms of meals. We had both a lunch and then a curated dinner at the end. We asked a lot of people to put housing, so we put people in people's homes, and then we do dorm-style housing in a kind of a nice hostel, actually, in the neighborhood. It's important to us that everyone's either within walking distance or quite close by, easily accessible, and really just try to think of the hospitality around it, because we know we can't pay, and we know we're not terribly fancy, so we try to make up for it with lots of free booze and stuff. And then just the structure, the only other thing I wanted to talk about was just the structure of the festival, which has remained the same pretty much over the years, but the duration of the festival has shifted. Last year I thought we hit a sweet spot with 5 consecutive nights, so in 2017 that may be where we go again. But we curate, this last year, okay, so for the first 4 years we had artist talks during the day, similar to this one here, which is like 10 times better attended than ours were. And they were also really dividing our attention at a time when we were trying to install the work and stuff like that. So last year we decided to forego a formal artist talk, instead focus on a nighttime event that would keep the artists all in one space, and also the artists and volunteers in one space. That was important to us as well. So what we ended up doing was curating a giant stock pot. We put out a call for proposals and selected 5 artists, 1 for each night, who created a giant meal in a pot, like a stew or a soup. hopefully reflecting on the work that happened that day. The artist took it in all sorts of directions, and it was our first one, and I was all happy about that. The idea was to kind of get everyone together at the end of the day. So we did a pop-up supper. We clean up at the end of the night. Everything's all in the same facility. Clean up at the end of the night, put up a bunch of tables and chairs, and basically have a soup kitchen. It all has to be in one bowl with one spoon, and everyone lines up and has their soup. But that really galvanized us this last year in a way that was really special. Yeah. I just let these kind of go so that you could see what was going on with those. But if you have any questions about them, just let me know. I'm sorry I didn't put nationalities next to them, but you hopefully recognize some of the names and stuff as well. That's all I have to say.
Shall we just go directly to questions, since it seemed like people...
I was curious,
Tienen
to-
algo
for-
para ti.
I was curious about how the performance art is accepted by the public and by government.
¿Cómo se acepta la performance de parte del público y cómo se acepta la performance de parte del gobierno? Niveles de aceptación para la acción en diferentes niveles. It's complicated.
Bueno, en cuanto al público, sí, podemos decir que positivamente, sobre todo con las acciones que se plantean en el espacio público.
With the public, generally speaking, it's a positive reaction, especially when the actions happen in public.
Aunque no entiendan de ningún modo, hay empatía.
Even if they don't understand per se, there's a level of empathy.
Y respecto al gobierno, puedo hablar del gobierno local de mi ciudad.
With regards to the government, I can really speak towards to the local government, the government of the city, the municipal government.
Desde que comencé a trabajar, ya fuera en video arte o performance, me ocupé de convencer al gobierno de que era algo interesante e importante.
From the moment that I began working in video and performance, I really dedicated myself to talking to the government and convincing them that it was a worthwhile and important endeavor.
Hasta el punto de que el festival que hice el año pasado se hizo en el Museo de Arte Contemporáneo de mi ciudad.
To the point where the festival from last year was actually hosted by the Contemporary Art Museum in Junín.
Y el gobierno municipal se encargó de cubrir el alojamiento de los artistas.
And the municipal government was in charge of looking for places for the artists to stay.
Siempre he tenido ese apoyo, ya fuera brindando los espacios o el alojamiento o alguna cosa, siempre algo.
I've always had some level of support from the municipal government, whether it is with the venue, whether it is with hosting people, but there's always some level of engagement.
En el primer festival que hicimos en el 2005, trabajamos en el Museo Histórico, en el Museo Municipal, en la calle, en la Escuela de Artes de la ciudad.
In the first festival from 2005, there weren't just performances on the street, but in different museums, in the School of Fine Arts.
Y cuando se creó el Museo de Arte Contemporáneo, que fue en el 2011 creo, bueno, me lancé ahí.
And when the Museum of Contemporary Art was created in 2011, I jumped on.
Y aunque a veces no organice festivales, sí hay instancias donde, por ejemplo, puede ir un artista y hacemos una charla como esta y hacemos una presentación de performance. Eso lo hice este año con una artista mexicana que es Elvira Santamaría.
And even when there isn't a chance to necessarily do a performance, every once in a while there will be a kind of solo presentation where an artist will come in, there will be a talk, there will be a performance. For example, this year it happened with an artist from Mexico called Elvira Santamaría.
Y en ese caso solo tengo que ir y pedir al museo.
And in that case, all I have to do is go and ask for the museum.
Bueno, porque ya hay una trayectoria.
Because there's a trajectory and there's a relationship that's been built up.
When you're working in the street, do you have to get permits?
Pero cuando estás trabajando en la calle, tienes que pedir permisos especiales.
Nunca pedimos.
We never ask for permission.
Muchas veces llegó la policía.
The police sometimes comes.
Chicago.
Pero
Same, we don't ask for permission. Police
Chicago
sometimes come.
tampoco piden permiso y también les llega la policía en Chicago.
It's part of the job. You just
Es parte de lo que pasa.
Ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Pedir permiso, no perdón.
Mira, por ejemplo,
For example,
cuando trabajamos en Pergamino, sabía la Dirección de Cultura, sabía el gobierno, sabían todos. Y llegó la policía.
when they worked in Pergamino, all of the authorities, all of the sort of cultural authorities knew about it, and the police still showed up.
Did they stop it or did?
¿Pararon la acción?
Oh,
No.
Pidieron.
They couldn't. Johanna, did you have a question?
Well, in my experience, the police are actually very astute observers of performance art, and they know when something is dangerous or not. And usually, it's I mean, it sounds a little bit banal, but I like your
Que
phrase.
por lo
Ask
general
for
los
forgiveness,
policías son
not permission.
observadores astutos de la performance y saben cuando
I mean, I can remember Jimmy McMurray running down the street,
¿Se acuerdan
soaking
cuando
wet with
Jimmy
baseball
McMurray
bat in the middle of the night, being
corrió
pulled over
por
by the cops, and he just kind of stood back
con un
and
bate de
because if anyone can
básquet
talk
de béisbol
his way out of a sticky
Sí.
y
situation.
la policía sí lo siguió?
Often they are their best
Muchas veces son de las mejores audiencias para los artistas.
Sí. Me contaron una pequeña
But I had another question, but
And he,
Silvio has something to say.
yeah, so he wants to tell just a little anecdote.
Cuando estuvo Elvira Santamaría este año en Buenos Aires, hicimos una acción en el Puente de la Mujer.
When Elvira Santamaria was in Buenos Aires this year, we did an action in ¿cómo se dice puente? In the
Well,
bridge, in the bridge, the women's bridge.
Y ella aprendió.
The women's bridge.
You know, it's a bridge that is, I guess, named after women. Is my sense.
Aprendió un foco.
And she turned on one match,
Y llegó la policía.
and
No se puede hacer.
the police came down on her.
¿Dónde dice?
Where does it say?
Pero lo hicimos igual.
But it was done anyway.
My question was for Joseph, which is, Silvio has managed to form this relationship with contemporaries, and what's your relationship with your...
It's interesting to hear that, right? Because those are huge challenges to make in a big city where everyone is clamoring to be recognized by their, institutions and contemporary like things. Our relationship is really good, actually. Defibrillator, I think, is almost more embraced by the contemporary art institutions in the city than the city itself in some ways. Like, our audience is largely young, largely under 30, and artistic. So I long for audiences like the ones that I'm seeing here at 7A11D. But the institutions are sort of recognizing what I've brought to the table in terms of the cultural conversation in Chicago. And so there haven't been a lot of partnerships or not a ton of money changing hands, but Peter, ironically, and if you're familiar a little with the history, Peter Taub, who ran Randolph Street Gallery, was then curating performance at the MCA in Chicago, but he recently retired, and I'm not sure of the details surrounding that. But we had a huge advocate there as a performance artist with a strong history, but still they're pretty good friends. It's so funny, I'm glad that I stayed in Chicago so long. It's kind of, I think he touched on that, and I feel like it's been a through line in a lot of these talks, but consistency and connections are great. Eventually your friends are also in these positions in other institutions, and Chicago is very community based. We're all talking to each other in such a great way. I sometimes feel honored that I'm sitting around a table with these people who I looked up to when I was a young artist. And we call each other and say, listen, I'm sitting on a panel and we're thinking about this artist, and I know you worked with them, and things like that. So the relationship is a little more understated, but it's there. And there are a lot of things in terms of international presentation where we're all sitting around the same table as well, with cultural attaches and consulates and universities and things like that. So we're pretty well connected, but it's not super evident in any big way.
What about this, the Art Institutes?
Del Instituto de Arte de Chicago.
The Art Institute. Do you have any
¿Cuál es la
relationship with
relación?
that?
They often rent the gallery for student exhibitions. Actually, it's become a pretty good source of revenue because it kind of became a fashionable, like
Se ha vuelto
grad course, especially wants to have their final exhibition in a professional gallery space. So now we've arranged our season to not to be sort of dead during this time period, the last few weeks of the semester, and then they rent the space for $400 or $500. It's not a ton of money, and students are hard. They don't patch the walls very well and all that jazz, you know. But it's a good source of revenue, and it also keeps the space. It does keep that young, fresh vibe thing. I was told that that will be our biggest resource. Like when I've been consulting arts agencies and things like this, you know, because there are support systems for arts organizations, but performance art, of course, falls between the cracks in that regard, right? They don't know what to do with us. Like corporate, basically, it's all about corporate fund, you know, corporate gifts, and they don't think that there are any corporations who would want to be represented by Defibrillator if we continue to show like Rocio Bolivares or what have you. What? I know, right? Boeing. But who knows about that? I don't know. The world is changing quickly, so we'll see. I'm sure there are things out there, maybe fashion or even sports drinks or something, but I don't know that I want to go that path. I already feel like Robin Hood to a certain degree. Like I'm definitely navigating corporate structures and institutional structures on behalf of artists who really don't know how to, the pedagogical thing, I guess that came up again, that's kind of been a through line within these talks as well. You find yourself having to educate a lot. To get our business license, they looked at our website and they classified us as adult entertainment. And I don't know what upset us more. I think it was the word entertainment, actually. Because the adult part I got. But finally, and this is kind of a good story in a way, but I kept going back every morning. You know, I'd wear a suit and I'd like be as professional as possible. And it was all just about getting the right bureaucrat at the right time, and I knew that. So I just kept calling back, so to speak, right? Like I just kept going and going. And finally I got one woman and she looks at our website and she goes, "Oh, this is like that Marina Abramovich." And I was like, "Oh my God, thank you, Marina." I'm like, yes, ding, ding, ding. Honestly, I walked out with my license that day. So these crossovers from popular culture, like they can be beneficial, you know. Yeah, but we're lucky. It's happening slowly and surely. I mean, I feel like Toronto is probably one of those cities because of Fado as well, where Chicagoans are very savvy around performance art. They're used to it. They accept it. Seeing it on the street is its own thing. But yeah, I'm pretty lucky that the cultural climate around performance is really kind of happening in Chicago right now.
¿Quieres responder? ¿Algo que responder? De lo que has dicho.
They're like, "Where are you going for lunch?" I don't know. I really feel like.
No, just asking if there's
I really feel like.
Sylvia would like to respond. Any other questions? Johannes and then Jessica.
I'm curious about the difference for this video component.
Para el componente de video,
The difference
la
between a
diferencia
festival and a series of
entre
screenings.
un festival y una serie de muestras. ¿Cuál es la diferencia? ¿Qué lo hace un festival?
Claro, cuando hemos trabajado en el formato de festival ha sido también en el museo y ha sido con presentaciones de distintas curadurías en varios días, charlas, presentaciones de algunos artistas, un festival.
In the context of the festival, you know, it really takes on, different curatorships, having panels, different nights at the museum.
Y en el otro caso es simplemente preparar la curaduría y enviar a un evento.
And in the other case, it's really just preparing the videos and then kind of shipping it over.
But does it have like
Pero tiene...
talks and panels and
Cuando lo mandas a
bringing
otros lados,
artists in?
también hay charlas y panels y llevan artistas.
Sí.
Yeah.
O sea, están participando dentro de otro festival.
And so the curatorship that Silvio sends will be a component within another festival. so that the videos will travel and they will be hosted by another festival.
Así, por ejemplo, estuvimos en la Bienal de La Habana
For example, in the Havana Biennial,
y hubo paneles,
And
hubo
there was a
presentaciones
panel.
de 3 curadores. Estuvo bueno.
but from 3 different curators. Jessica.
I have a question for Jessica. It's really cool that Sylvia was just curated you into a festival
Una
too.
pregunta para mí.
And so I was, of course, these believe that you're still working as a performance artist, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how your work with defibrillator and rapid pulse has affected your
Yeah, my practice. Oh shit, it totally like sidelined it. It was the biggest thing, like I thought, naively that I could do both and quickly learned that I couldn't maintain my art practice and defibrillator at the same time. But around the 4 years in, we were kicked out of our old space and I was going to like finish the gallery. But I felt like this international support, really. I got so many messages on social media and stuff and decided to continue on. And one of the sort of promises I made when I decided to continue on is that I would try to make more work because ultimately that's what makes me happy. Curating is a similar feeling. When I make a project happen from beginning and really envision it and put it together, it feels a lot like the art. It is an art making process. Like I have a satisfaction from that, but it's not quite the same. So for a while I was still making maybe a gesture, something very simple every once in a while, but my work shifted from more complicated time, where I had time to develop it and put it together, to things that were very much more simple and conceptual. But then in this past year, at places like this, and also live last year, I've been sort of just trying to get back into object making and paying a little bit more attention to my practice. Because ultimately it's making me happier, and then I think that makes me more productive in the other realms. Now I should focus on my health, honestly. That's the thing that took the beating. I'm just addicted to stimulants and quick releases.
¿Cómo ha afectado?
Watch it when it comes.
To summarize it.
¿Cómo ha afectado el ser organizador tu práctica?
Sí. El ser organizador es realmente algo complicado, entonces ocurre que uno descuida su propio trabajo, su propia obra. Sí.
Being an organizer is complicated because it can really lead you to not take care of your own practice.
Produce mucho desgaste,
It causes wear, you get worn.
pero también es interesante esa posibilidad de decidir y decir esto me gusta, esto no me gusta, invito a este, a aquel, al otro.
But the possibility of deciding, of choosing, of saying, okay, well, I'm interested in these artists, this is what I want to focus on, that's also a good thing.
Y generar algo que esté completamente pensado por uno mismo, que esté controlado, que uno sepa hacia dónde apunta.
And generate something that, a proposition that is comes from you, where you can really decide what the focus of what you want to say is.
Cuando yo organizaba estos festivales de la interferencia siempre había un texto curatorial y siempre los artistas tenían que ajustarse a esa plataforma, digamos.
When I curated the intervention, there was always a curatorial text, and the artists really had to respond to the curatorial premise.
Pero sí hice una pausa entre el 2010 y el 2015 porque estaba realmente cansado de negociar y de discutir y de resolver problemas.
But in the pause between 2010 and 2015, there was really, I was tired of all of the negotiations, so I really had to take a break.
Y luego cambió el gobierno y parece que en el nuevo gobierno tengo muchos amigos.
And then the government changed, and it seems like in the new government I have a lot of friends.
Is it very good?
And that's very good.
Yeah.
Pero sí, ahora estoy prefiriendo dejar la faceta de organizador de festivales. Sí voy a continuar con lo de las curadurías, los intercambios.
But I'm really moving away from organizing festivals per se. I will continue with the particular curatorships, but I'm really moving away from festival making.
Y voy a tratar de ir a muchos lugares
And I'm going to try to tour
y hacer mi propio trabajo.
and make my own work.
So that brings me to, so I noticed you're wearing a cane T-shirt for Perfo 6, which was a
Que se
festival
da cuenta
in,
que es la t-shirt del
Brazil.
festival en
We
Brasil,
involved that
en
last
el que
year.
los dos
That
estuvieron.
was Quien means who.
¿Qué
The
quiere
question
decir?
of this festival
¿Quién?
was who are making work in
¿Quién
Brazil,
está haciendo
who's doing performance in
performance en Brasil? ¿Quién está haciendo performance en la
Survey.
región?
So it would be interesting to
Sería interesante
hear
oír
where you think
dónde crees
the
que
kind of organization
la
or
organización
possibilities for
o
making
la
performance
posibilidad
are
de
in
hacer
the
performance
Latin American
en
context right now,
Latinoamérica.
and whether there are other kinds of venues and festivals that are strong
Existen otros festivales que sean muy
how these kind of
fuertes.
networks and
¿Cómo,
venues for showing performance or making performance.
¿Qué puedes decir acerca
exist
de la red que
in Latin
existe, la red de performance que existe en Latinoamérica en estos días?
Sí. Creo que sigue siendo importante la escena en Chile y creo que ha crecido mucho lo que sería en Brasil.
Chile remains really important and Brazil has really grown.
En Chile, por ejemplo, continúan los encuentros de Perfolink y Alexander del Rey
In Chile, the Perfolink continues.
y continúa la Bienal de Formes de Gonzalo Rabanal.
The Formes continues.
Y en la medida en que llegan artistas para estos eventos es posible llevarlos hacia otros eventos en la zona.
And as artists arrive, it's possible for them to circulate within the region.
En cuanto a Argentina, sí, continúa el SOS Tierra, el Zona de Arte, no sé si continúa.
In terms of Argentina, SOS Tierra continues. The other one, I'm not so sure. Que cerraron en el 2012. Zona de Arte.
Y
Después de 7 años.
lo que veo con mucha fuerza actualmente es Brasil. En Brasil se están generando muchos eventos, muchos festivales y ha habido una apertura interesante porque antes Brasil estaba en su propio mundo, apartado de todos los hispanohablantes y ahora hay como un ida y vuelta entre argentinos, chilenos, brasileños.
Brazil really remains really strong, and something that has really shifted is that Brazil really used to be kind of on its own and quite apart from the rest of the Spanish-speaking world. But now there's much more contact and there's much more exchange.
Cuando estaba establecida la red entre Uruguay, Chile y Argentina, nunca podíamos hacer ingresar a Brasil.
When the Conosur network was really active, it was very hard to bring Brazil in.
Y en este momento, si se generaran los mismos intercambios, se podría ir a Brasil y ser muy interesante, en espacios muy buenos.
And at this moment, if an opportunity like that came up, it would be easy to sort of bring Brazil into the fold. Do you want to say something about U.S. performance festivals? Just because
Yeah, because you asked me actually, and it's hard to think of them. Like Charo is doing some things in Miami, the Miami Performance Art Festival. Houston, I thought they were going to have another one this year, but I don't think it is. It was a performance art explosion. Mick Henry and Julia Claire Wallace and a few people were behind that at Natsuo, which is a really interesting space, by the way, in Houston. Jill and Hoke in the summer do what they call the Great American Performance Art Festival, but it's not really a festival as you would think about it. Like, other things pop up. There's a little bit of a scene in Washington, D.C., Ames Armstrong, and in San Francisco, I think there's one called Impulse. And little things just bubble up from time to time, but I can't think of anything that's like really, can anyone? Isn't it funny? I feel like I'm forgetting some big one somewhere that's too obvious. Oh, but then there's this other level of Performa TBA festival in like Portland. Mobius is always doing things, and actually Vela and Alice were doing TBSO, which is how I met a lot of people in this room actually, and that's evolved into maybe this summer program on the islands in Boston. I think they call it Inside Out. But gosh, yeah, and if you see a call for that again, do it. I did one on the island. I loved every moment of it. It was great, and Boston is really an interesting city. But yeah, there aren't so many actual festivals, primarily because of funding structures. Yeah, or even all that many venues. Like in Detroit, some things are happening. There's a space called Spread Art And there's a new dance space, I'm forgetting the name of it, that also likes performance art. And dance and other venues are taking performance a little bit more seriously. But it's always still a struggle.
Es un poco difícil. I think you had a question.
Well, there was another half, you forgot the other part of my question,
Oh, sorry.
which was just, not just festivals, but other kinds of initiatives, whether they exist.
Otro tipo de iniciativas que no sean festivales. Aparte, porque solo te pregunté de los festivales, pero no te pregunté que otros formatos para presentación de performance que no son en realidad festivales. Graciela estaba hablando de su espacio, que son las Peras del Olmo. ¿Qué otras estructuras para presentar la performance existen?
Sí, hay otros artistas, así como Graciela, que tienen sus espacios y generan también instancias de presentación de performance. En la provincia de Córdoba, en la provincia de Mendoza, en distintas provincias, no solo en Buenos Aires ocurren unas cosas.
There's artists like Graciela who run their own spaces and they don't just exist in Buenos Aires, but they exist in different regions throughout Argentina.
Y yo mismo, cuando no me planteo organizar un festival, pienso en organizar un microevento con uno o dos artistas donde haya una charla y una presentación de performance.
And myself, when I'm really not up for curating a whole festival, there's a format of a kind of micro event, where it's one or two artists in conversation with one another, presenting work, having a talk.
Básicamente se trata de aprovechar a aquellos artistas que están en la zona, en alguno de los países, en algún evento. Por ejemplo, ahora Joseph, que va a Chile, él podría pasar hacia Argentina.
And
entonces generar algo.
It's really about taking advantage of who happens to be passing through. For example, now that Joseph's going to be in the area, it's relatively easy to sort of, pull him in and sort of take him around through the networks.
It is true. That's a tricky thing to navigate as well, like trying to plan a season and book a season, but trying to stay open for other touring artists, because that was a big reason for my opening this space. I get an invitation to a festival, and then I try to line up more engagements along the way, and it's a particular problem. I always say performance artists, I think, tour a lot more like a rock band than anything else, because you look for those venues and you try to line it up, and you don't know if you're getting a hotel room or a flea-bitten mat on the back of someone's floor, but you just do it, and you're hoping to just share your work with people and generate interest in what you're doing and stay connected.
Yes.
So I'm just curious, I guess the question applies to both of you as to what did you find to be the most exciting aspect of exchange when working and having these artists from all over the world?
¿Cuál es el aspecto más emocionante de los encuentros, de traer artistas de otros lados?
For me, it's when two artists that maybe I had in a festival together, when I notice that they start working together, or even a volunteer in an artist, or even someone that begins curating on their own, and then I notice that they will work with artists who I feel like they met through Rapid Pulse or Defibrillator. I call them my grandbabies. Those are those are my proud moments. I love it when people find someone that they connect with and carry it on. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Para vos, ¿qué es lo más emocionante?
Bueno, creo que en el caso de todos los festivales y todas las iniciativas que se generan en Latinoamérica es la posibilidad de poder ver obras de artistas de todo el mundo y como aprender, como es necesario ver y ver y ver.
In the case of the kinds of formats that get brought to Latin America, it's really about getting to see artists from other places in the world and getting to not just look at the work but also learn from.
Porque también en la performance latinoamericana hay ciertos formatos como cerrados, como clichés, como cuestiones que hay que subvertir, y esto se puede lograr viendo otros trabajos.
Latin American performance has sort of reached a point where there's conventions and things that can sort of almost fall into clichés, and so it's important to continue breaking that frame as a way to introducing new forms, introducing new ideas.
Porque de lo contrario, si es un encuentro solo latinoamericano, siempre vas a ver el mismo tipo de obra.
Otherwise, if it's just a Latin American meeting, within Latin America, there's a chance that the same kind of work can continue to circulate.
Eso es lo importante, el diálogo, el intercambio.
And that's what's important, dialogue, exchange.
What's happening in Peru?
¿Qué está pasando en Perú?
En Perú.
Is there any performance
Hay algo
in
de
Peru?
performance.
I hear very little. Does anyone
No se oye
know?
mucho.
Yeah?
Que dice que sí habían algunos. A la izquierda.
Ah, yeah.
En Ecuador también, sí.
Que están haciendo presidencias. Y ahí también hay encuentros.
Okay.
De encuentros.
Nice. It's just one of those countries you don't hear that much about.
No es mucho en realidad, no. El año pasado, el primer bienal de Caracas.
Yes, Carlos Salazar Lermont. Yeah, that was really exciting.
Carlos
I thought.
Salazar.
He's living in Chicago now, by the way.
Chicago, dice.
Yeah, he's going to grad school there.
No, Chicago, usted
Yeah.
escuela de arte. Es, ojalá
I
que
think
se-
they're going to
que se
keep
siga
continuing.
así.
It has to be so hard. It's. I think it's so wonderful though that these things can happen, right? Like.
Any other questions, comments? Yes. Can you speak a little louder? Sorry. El nombre del artista uruguayo.
Clemente Padín.
Clemente Padín. ¿Cómo deletreas el apellido? P-A-D-I-N. Segunda pregunta. Ella es mitad uruguaya. Antes de ir a Uruguay, era difícil encontrar información sobre el arte contemporáneo en Uruguay y espacios. Su curiosidad es si hay muchos espacios o si hay incluso espacios del todo.
Sí, hay mucha información.
¿Cómo se encuentra? Porque los que se encuentran más son en Argentina y en la ciudad. So there are spaces. Sí hay espacios.
Sí
en
hay
Uruguay.
espacios, sí hay espacios. Sí.
¿Alguna referencia para ella? Asking for references.
Is there performance?
Pero en Uruguay hay mucha información y hay mucho arte contemporáneo y se han organizado importantes festivales, como ya mencioné antes. Encuentro Latinoamericano de Performance en el Uruguay 2007, en 2005, 2004, 2008. Hubo importantes encuentros y en internet está todo. Uno de los encuentros más importantes se llamó Concentrado Acción. Eso se puede encontrar en la web.
So there's quite a bit of a scene, and there's been a lot of really important exhibitions and festivals. I sort of in the flow of it, I missed the specifics of the name, but if you connect with me, I can ask him and we can get you anybody who wants a reference.
Oh no, there was a mailing list I was on for a while. I don't know if I'm still following it. Performanceologia, performance. Do you know this one? It was largely in Spanish or Portuguese, so but I'd still peruse it, and every once in a while I'll find like a name of a space or something that I Google just as a point of research for South America, because it is. Is that how you say it? It's like a Google group. Yeah.
Performance.
Is it still pretty active? Yeah. I just thought it was a decent resource for finding some things out about South America and Latin America. It is very global too. Yeah.
And it's based out of Mexico?
No, that was originated by two
Venezuela.
artists.
Yeah.
De Venezuela.
Ignacio Pérez and
Aldana.
Right. Yeah.
Who we know. Aldana.
De Venezuela, pero que vive en Finlandia.
And Ignacio now lives in Finland. All
We
right.
both show Carlos.
Yes, Paul.
5 minutes left.
Yeah, 5 minutes left.
Please.
Are there any last comments, questions? We're sort of
I know.
beginning the wrap up.
My job is-
If there's no more comments or questions, I would like to thank you for coming and for listening to Joseph and Silvio. We would like to invite you to the rest of the festival, which is happening all the way through to Saturday. Margaret Dragoo's Bergfrau TV is streaming live every day at 4, and it's a hoot. Anioni
That's
Chung.
the pre-roll.
Yeah.
You get to hear all the inside.
You get to hear the real tea, as they would say. Anioni Chung starts performing at 5:30, and she will go all the way through to around Cindy Baker, who is at the Anniversary Gallery at OCAD.
Today, tomorrow, and Saturday.
Please check out our website. We have a full schedule with all the details. And we thank you for coming and being here.